bathroom looked squalid. There were large pieces of chipped paint hanging down from the ceiling, revealing crevices in the old drywall. The light fixture clung precariously to an exposed wire, swinging gently with each draft of air that blew between blackened and splintered wooden trusses, which looked exhausted from bearing the weight of the floor of the neighbor above. It smelled of mold initially, but now the odor was characteristic of the bathroom. This bathroom, more suited to an abandoned apartment, was, inconceivably, part of Emma's daily reality. As Emma emerged from the tub, the chill of the air bit at her damp skin, a stark reminder of the countless mornings she had spent in this very room, trying to find solace in the warmth of the water, only to be greeted by the cold embrace of reality as she stepped out. She kept her gaze firmly on the cracked tiles under her feet, a silent battle raging within her to not let the room's despair seep into her bones. In a corner, there stood a thriving, vibrant green peace lily with its bright white spathe and yellow spadix, oblivious to its surroundings. With a quick, almost defiant step, she wrapped herself in the coarse fabric of her threadbare towel, its familiar roughness a jarring contrast to her soft skin. She hurried out, leaving behind the bathroom's echoing drips and somber shadows, much like shedding an unwanted memory. Emma entered the bedroom. Jordan was seated at her desk, typing something on the keyboard. He didn't look up, was buried deep in his thoughts, and occasionally rubbed his eyes. As usual, he woke up early and now feels sleepy, Emma thought. Emma felt hesitant to address Jordan because she did not want to distract him from writing with another conversation about repairs in the apartment. Jordan had a short attention span, and Emma didn't mind doing her best not to disturb him when he was focused. So she headed straight towards the mirror in the middle of the room, across from Jordan, in silence. The room did not have a bed. Jordan and Emma believed it was too bulky and slept on a thin Japanese mattress, which he had already put away like he always does while she takes her morning shower. There were dusty books taking up space on a towering IKEA shelving unit among plastic bins filled with family memorabilia, a black and white wardrobe on one side of the wall and a black dresser on the other by the mirror. There was also a desk bicycle that you can pedal while reading a book on an iPad. Next to it stood a rolling laundry basket with a clothes hanger filled with clothes to its full capacity. It blocked the way to the dresser where Emma kept her jewelry. She had to maneuver around the basket to reach the dresser. Finally, there was a desk where Emma worked on Thursdays and Fridays because she worked remotely on those days. Today was Wednesday, so Jordan was occupying it because he loved Emma's comfortable leather chair. On Thursday and Fridays, he would switch to working on the desk bicycle, sitting on a wooden bench propped against it. Above, to the left of Emma's desk, up on the wall, was hung a large black and white bookcase, again, filled with various trinkets, some papers, and books that no one touched for a while. The silence started weighing heavily on Emma. She could not bear it any longer. Do you think you could mail out that letter to the landlord about the repairs that we discussed? She summoned her best nature to say it politely and tactfully. Jordan looked at Emma and watched her intently for a moment, his fingers pausing over the keyboard. He hesitated and pondered how to respond, the familiar weight of procrastination pressing down on him. He knew the letter was important, but the thought of shifting his focus from his work felt like an insurmountable task. He plunged his face into his hands and started vigorously massaging his temples and let out a low, strained grunt. "Another letter, huh? It's like these distractions never end," he murmured, more to himself than to Emma, with a note of weariness threading through his words and avoiding eye contact with her. Glancing towards the door, where Mia leaned casually against the frame, Jordan asked, "Can you nudge me about it later?" Mia raised an eyebrow, a mix of exasperation and amusement in her tone. "Why not just ask Alexa to remind you? Works for me all the time," she suggested, her voice tinged with a teen's typical aversion to unnecessary tasks. "You know I tend to forget things too," she said. "I don't know, sometime around 11 or 2 maybe?" he said without looking at Mia. Emma caught Mia's eye in the mirror, their gazes meeting briefly in silent understanding before Mia shrugged slightly, an unspoken acknowledgement of the recurring situation. Emma rolled her eyes and continued staring at the mirror. For a moment, she felt as if she switched sides with her reflection in the mirror and was now looking at herself standing and glancing around in the bedroom. As Emma's gaze wandered over the familiar clutter, a silent testament to their busy, overlapping lives, a sigh escaped her. For a fleeting moment, she yearned for the simplicity of a less cluttered life, not just in their home, but in their relationship too. A small dent in the mirror's golden-colored frame brought her back to reality. She turned around and looked at Jordan sitting at her desk, a pang of irritation mingled with affection stirring within her. Emma's shoulders sagged as the frustration she had been holding back began to surface. Her voice, despite her efforts to remain calm, took on an edge of desperation. Jordan, listen, this is critical. We cannot delay this any longer. I need you to take care of the letter today, please, she implored, her voice betraying a mix of urgency and weary resignation.